night has fallen and you're weary from travel. Stars fill the sky above, and in front of you is a brightly lit wooden house. You walk toward the house, hearing the sounds of laughter and talk as you reach. You sit down and join the game. It's a cheap buy-in, and not many of the other players are very good. The lady fiddling with dice gets good cards, but has no real strategy. The man in gray across from you, though, he's good. He already had the largest pile of coins when you bought in. One by one, the other players leave the table, sometimes with pique or with wry humor. Finally, it's just you and the man in gray. He looks at you, full of humor, and winks. Last hand? He deals, you draw, and look at your hand. It's good. It's great. The best hand, in fact. A royal straight flush. Spades. Aces high. But the man in gray pushes forward his whole pile. You're not sure exactly how much it is, but it's more than you've got. You can't match that. The man in gray stops you. Now, if you like, I'll let you wager your word. I know you'll be good for it. Just promise you'll pay the debt. However I ask. The man in gray smiles. All right then, I'll call.
Well, your luck wasn't so good, was it? That's quite the hand, but not for the game we're playing. I'm afraid you owe me. Your life, sure, but more than that, your labor. You see, this land is built on stories. It's one big story, this country, woven of many small ones. Few of the small ones are strictly true, and the big story is mostly a lie. All the stories and songs and myths and legends start somewhere, with a seed. As they're told and retold and passed around, to pay your debt to me, you'll be carrying stories, finding the seeds first and then spreading them, telling them onwards so they can begin gaining strength. This is no light task. Stories are heavy. Most of the stories you'll find will be small seeds. They might be true, but they'll grow wild and unbelievable with the telling. The more important stories are the true ones, the ones people will tell you about their own lives. Those often get lost in the weaves of the big story. The more true stories you can find and tell, the more you can weave that truth into the big story. Tarnish it a bit perhaps, but isn't a dingy and battered truth better than a shining lie? Now, go ahead. You tell me a story. You sometimes have to make choices about what kind of story you're finding. Is it a love story or a tragedy? Don't gather too many of one kind, though. This grand story needs variety. I'll strip away your flesh to make the journey easier, but still you'll feel pain, hunger, weariness, thirst, and despair. They're all part of stories, the part not often told. And death, yes, but don't worry. As long as your task remains, you come back. Your deepest desires, your greatest wish, heaven? Big rock candy mountain? El Dorado? Well, I don't know where that is. It's supposed to be somewhere in this country. Ask, they're all searching. Go on your way, seeker. Maybe we'll meet again, or maybe not. Either way, I'm jealous in some. I hope you find what you're...
I won't leave much behind to drag you down. Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary.
This bungalow is being ransacked. There's furniture piled in the front yard, ammunition heaped under the mailbox. The two heavily armed, mud-caked women leaning over the porch railing share the same bored grin. One, you are about to hand her a smoke when those men draw pistols and shove you hard into the dirt. You know these girls? They demand. Once they've dumped your bag out into the road, they decide you're harmless. If you were selling booze too, you'd have a lot more.
I'm golden empty. They're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my victory.
Off the road and into the woods, you can't help but come across this package by the old tree tied to a sturdy stick. The cloth wrapping conceals. The shape gives a start.
Please don't tell my pa that I'm in here.
It says in a...
Pa doesn't want to live with us anymore. But I want to go with him. Don't tell him, please. I'm hiding.
His father must have been here at some point, but you sure can't see him now,
Please go. He's coming back any minute.
says the boy, growing agitated.
He's going to see you talking to me. Please.
come every year, you know. The old man is sitting at the edge of a rotting old pier, crooked legs dangling over the water. Just when the fishing is going to be good. He taps great, black, thick globs of spent tobacco out of a huge ceramic pipe. I got another year, I guess. Another year of this town being here, he replies, letting a grin spread across his face. If the seagulls came, that means enough fish to keep it in place. The woman walks the small town square with the poise of Betty Davis, a confident stride, and inimitable mannerisms elevating this. You question a well-dressed man parked outside an oyster house. Prudish woman. I took her on a fine date and she didn't. You talk with a waitress smoking outside a diner. Something funny about her. Just showed up one day. Doesn't work, doesn't live anywhere far as I know. Just around. You ask the woman if you may join her at a public bench. You may. Lovely outside, isn't it? Her eyes are a beautiful shade of brown. Beneath the yellow ribbon, a thick, fibrous scar wraps around her throat. You can see storm clouds on the horizon, and you don't relish the thought of being caught wandering this rocky seaside road in the rain. At the top of an ornate wrought iron spiral, you're breathless and feeling the strain on your knees. Rain already batters the walls out. Looks like we got a visitor. Sounds like a man's voice, deep and rough. After a moment, the door unlatches from the inside and opens. The man before you is tall and muscular. Despite the rough exterior, this room looks like a well-appointed parlor. There's a rug on the well-trod wooden floor and an enormously plush couch. And sat upon it. Oh, we manage. The tall one sits on the sofa, casually wrapping an arm around the other lighthouse keeper. The quiet suits us just fine. He needs his quiet time. He's a writer. The tall one grunts. I dabble, but you must have some good stories from the road. You wake up the next morning on their old sofa. A dusty truck and a man on horseback pull up next to one another in front of the grocer. The man with the truck leaps into the street.
Brother!
He shouts. The one on the horse tumbles. Everyone here is watching these two older men cry and hug one another in the middle of Main Street. Cars and wagons are backing up. The long-lost brothers pose in front of traffic, cry snot pouring out of their noses. As angry passerby,
turn my eyes from these cold blue skies, won't stay my worry, won't calm or quell.
I can say my piece, I can barter my tale, won't ease my burden, but I might as well. There's a heavy hand laid across this land, and it steers my journey and it guides my path.